students, welcome back to the session. So in the previous session we completed the 4th unit. Now coming to the 5th unit. Okay. So in the 5th unit what we are going to study is, in 5th unit we will see what are the software quality assurance. So what are the different types of testing we will do. So what is the interface, how interface will be conducted, how the testing for the interface will be seen. So in the development of the software project, so what is the validation, what is the verification, how we have to do the verification according to the requirements given by the user. So according to the design model, so what are the things we have to consider. So what are the things that is implemented, what are the components that are implemented in the design process. So is those elements are working properly or not. So is the communication is going on, going correctly or not. So in order to check all these things, so what we have to do. So how we have to check the software quality. So how we have to test the software product. So that will be seen in this total unit. Okay. So it will have some evaluation. So it will have some software quality assurance. So what is software quality assurance? What are the tasks they will do? So what are the goals and metrics? So what are the different types of the goals? What are the different types of metrics in order to get the software quality? So that we will see in this unit. So coming to the topic. So the first topic is the golden rules. Okay. So this golden rules will mainly discussed on the principles for the user interface. So how we have to design the user interface. So how effectively we can design the user interface. For that purpose it has given us some golden rules. Okay. So the first principle is to place the user in control, which means have the computer interface. Support the user's understanding of a task and do not force the user to follow the computer's way of doing the things. That means, so the first one thing is we have to the user control. That means whatever the things you are doing with the system, so the user has to control the system. So if people are using the mobile phones, if people are using laptops, so if the laptop is controlling you or you are controlling the laptop. So you are controlling the laptop. Whatever the task you want to do, you are performing with that. So laptop is not saying to you people, so do like this, do this one, do that one. Like that it is not giving any order, any commands to the user. Only user will do according to his interface, according to his work, according to perform his task. He is performing with the laptop. Okay, so that is the first one. So the first is to place the user in control. And secondly, the second one is reduce the user's memory load. That means place all necessary information on the screen. So, okay, this is the laptop. So in this laptop there are these many types of drives. So I placed in D drive this type. I placed in F drive some other folders. Like that we can't able to remember sometimes. Okay. So in order to reduce our memory, so in user interface design, so it will show, so what are the things are there in your system. So if you click on the Windows E button, then it will show all the folders what you are there in your system. That means it is reducing the memory of the user. Okay, that is the second one. And third is the consistency, form and behavior. So while interacting the user with the system, so how it is behaving, how it is doing, how it is responding to the users, we can say users interaction, while user is interacting with the laptop, how it is how it is performing. Okay, so that is the third. So these are the three principles. And next, so now coming to the golden rules. So there are some three principles in order to design the user interface. Now we are going to the what are the golden rules based upon those three principles. So the first principle is place the user in control. So that what we have seen in the first principle. And secondly, reduce the user's memory load. That is the second principle. And third is make the interface consistent. So what we are interfering with the system, so it should be in consistent manner. That means we can easily interact with it. Okay, so these golden rules actually form the basis by using a set of user interface design principles that guide this important software design action. So these three golden rules are based upon the principles. What are the first three principles what I have said? So basing upon those principles of the user interface, these three golden rules are came into existence. Okay. So next coming to Mundell. So Mundell is one of the software contributor. So he defines a number of design principles. So what are those design principles that allow the user to maintain and control? So in order to design the user interface, so what is we have to maintain, what we have to control while designing. Okay. So the first one is define interaction modes in a way that doesn't force a user into unnecessary or undesired actions. Like, so how we have to consider interfaces. So when we are interacting with your system, so when you are interacting with your Android phone, when you are interacting with your tab, or when you are interacting with your laptop, so whatever the task you wish in your mind, so that particular task only you have to do. So the system doesn't lead to you some other task. Okay. So for example, I want to open in my laptop and I want to conduct a Zoom class for you. Okay. So if while the user is while I am interacting with my laptop, that means after switch on my laptop, so I'm going for some Zoom. So I'm clicking on the Zoom icon. So while I'm clicking on the Zoom icon, the laptop doesn't interfere other icons to disturb the user. For example, at the same time, some ads, like you people will get you will have some default process. The default process, when you on the system, the default process will be blow up. Okay, so those things doesn't happen. So it leads to the user cannot do his task in a desired manner. Okay, so that is the first. And second one is provide for flexible interaction. So we have to give some flexibility in the interaction. That means whatever the system we are interfering with that, so the system should be very easy to the user to understand. You should not get any complexity to interfere with that. Okay. And next, allow user interaction to be interruptible and undoable. Okay. So whatever the user is interaction with that, so it must not be interruptible. That means in middle of the for example, in middle of the work what you are doing on your system, may not the system get shut down by itself. Okay, that is one type of we can say that is a bug or error. Okay, and next, fourth one is streamline interaction as skill levels advance and allow the interaction to be customized. So whatever the interaction we are doing, so is not as per the skill advance, because some people will be there, they don't have any skills. That means they don't have any C language or CPP or Python or whatever the different programming languages. So they don't know all those things. So they will interfere with the system for their purposes. So at that time, this system has to be very interactive with those persons. And next, hide the technical internals from the casual user. So technical internals, that means whatever the things, for example, some technical problems you will get while you're interacting with your system. So the technical problems will not able to resolve by you. So we have to take some expert. So we have to hide. Next, design for direct interaction with objects that appearance on the screen. So on the home screen of your laptop, whatever the objects, that means whatever the graphical icons are there, so we can interact directly. So by using the mouse pointer or by using the touch or whatever, by using the voice commands, whatever it is. Okay. And next coming to, so reduce the, so this is the place user in control. So this we have set the three golden rules. So first one is the user in control. So these are the things. And next coming the reduce the user memories load. So what is it? Whenever possible, the system should remember pertinent information and assist the user with an interaction scenario that assists recall. Okay. So whatever the things when you are interacting with the system. So for example, if you click some sticky notes. So when you shut down your system, also the sticky notes will be available to your user. When you reopen or restart your system, the sticky notes will not get closed by itself. Okay, so that is one way of remembrance to the user. And next, first point is reduce the demand on short-term memory. And second one is establish meaningful defaults. So what is the defaults? That means, for example, if you open your Word document, you will get the F1 for help. Why you are giving the only F1 for help? So if you open the so many, whatever the documents like a PPT or Excel or Word, whatever the thing is you open, so F1, key F1 is only for the help. Why don't they change the different keys for different things? Because in order to keep in memory for the user. So user convenience. Okay. So F1 means help. So every whatever the thing is. So if you go for the Mozilla or if you go for the web browsers, all web browsers will use the F1 key as a help. Like that. So next one is define shortcuts that are intuitive. So you have so many of the shortcuts. Okay. So to save, Control S. To cut, Control X. Control XS. To paste, Control V. Like the shortcuts, we have to give some shortcuts. And next, the visual layout of the interface should be based on the real world metaphor. So whatever the things you are placing on the screen, so it should be according to the real world. Okay. And next, last point is disclose the information in a progressive fashion. So whatever the information you are providing to the user, it should be in some progressive fashion. Okay. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind to reduce the memory load of the user. And next, third one is make the interface consistent. So third golden rule, make the user interface consistent. So what is that? So the interface should present acquire information in a consistent manner. So how? All visual information is organized according to a design standard that is maintained throughout all the screen displays. So whatever the screen it is, whether it is a Windows or whether it is a Linux or whether it is a Android phone or whether it is a like Apple. So whatever the thing, whatever the software it is, whatever the thing is, so the screen, whatever the screen you are seeing, so the screen should be designed as according to the some of the rules. Okay. So and the organization of the information also should be in some organic some manner. And next, third one, second one, input mechanisms are constrained to a limited set that is used consistently throughout the application. So whatever the mechanisms you are using for giving the input, so whether it is through keyboard or whether it is through mouse or whether it is through voice commands or through, we can say some other by using some touch pen, whatever it is. So what type of input mechanisms you are using, so whatever the things you are using, so we have to get the throughout. That means the output what you are getting is should be in a consistent manner. Okay, so he is giving the voice command. That means the output should be varied. It not be like that. And next, mechanism for navigation from task to task are consistently defined and implemented. For example, so I am opening the Zoom. For your online classes, I have to open the Zoom. At the same time, I have to open the browsers of YouTube channel and I have to open another browser for the WhatsApp. Okay, so I am doing the three tasks. One is for WhatsApp, one is for YouTube, and another is for the Zoom. Okay, three tasks are doing in my laptop at the same time. So whenever I am doing the task, so when I am navigating from browser to Zoom or Zoom to browser, whatever the navigation I am doing, so it should be in a consistent manner. So if I open the Zoom, the Chrome doesn't be closed, okay, by itself. So that is this point. Okay, and next coming to a set of design principles that help make the interface consistent. So in order to make the interface more consistently, so there are the same set of rules. What are those? Let us go through. And first one is allow the user to put the current task into meaningful content. Okay, so whatever the things, whatever we have to allow the user to put the current task into meaningful context. Whatever the context it is, that means the user should be able to determine where he was coming from. So from where to where he was coming in, he was navigating the laptop. Okay, and next, second point is maintain consistency across function or of applications like MS Office. So MS Office, whatever the things it is in a consistent manner. Okay. Next, third point is if past interactive models have created, user expectations do not make changes unless there is a compelling reason to do so. So while doing your some documents, so you keep the some previous documents, old files. Okay, whatever the old files are there, so it should not be removed by the system itself. Okay, when we have to remove, then only we can able to remove. So that is one type of consistency. And next, coming to the user interface analysis and design, the second topic, user interface analysis and design. So what is the user interface and what is the analysis and what is the design? So the overall process for analyzing and designing a UI means user interface, user interface, begins with the creation of models of the system. So how the user interface will be designed? So the user interface will be designed based upon the system. So if it is a mobile phone, okay, so if it is a mobile phone, the user interface will be something different. If it is a laptop, it is different. If it is in a tab, it will be different. Okay, so let us see. So first one is user interface design models. So what are the user interface design models? So there are 4 different models come into play when user interface is to be analyzed and designed. So what are those? Okay, first one is user model. So according to the user model, a profile of all end users of the system. So user model is nothing but it is maintaining all the profiles of the end users. So users can be categorized as. So we are saying that users. So we are the users. So how the users are categorized? Because we have the so many. We can say that is due to the some problems of the users. So what are those? First one is no voices. So no synthetic and little synthetic knowledge of the system. So those who doesn't have the system's knowledge, and if you have some little knowledge for those persons, so that is a one type of user. Second user is knowledgeable imitant users. So that is they have the knowledge of the system. So what is the system? So what are things it will be there? So what is the software? What is the hardware? They know about that. They have the knowledge. And next, thirdly, knowledgeable frequent users. So they have the knowledge and they will use frequently. So second one is knowledgeable but intermittent users. That means they will use not frequently. They will use when they have some task. Only at that time only they will use. Okay. So third one is knowledgeable frequent users. So they know what is they have some synthetic rules. That means while writing the program, okay, there is a semantics errors, there are syntax errors. So they know everything. So these are the 3 types of the categories of the users. And second one is basing upon these 3 type category of users, user interface design will be dependent. And next, design model. So second one is a design model. A design realization of the user model that incorporates data, architectural, interface and procedural presentation of the software. So in design model, so the design realization, so in this design model, the user model will incorporate. That means user model will be based upon this design model. Because user model means user model have the according to the users. According to the users, there are 3 categories of users. Basing upon 3 users, these 3 categories of user, this design model will be based on that. Okay. So according to the software usability. And next, third one is mental model. So that is like a system perception. That means the user's mental image of the what interface is, the user's mental model shape, how the user perceives. So when we are interacting with the system, so how we are receiving the information from the system, how we are interacting with the system. So is it convenient to the user in order to interact with the system regularly or not? So he is facing any problems while interacting with the system. So that is a mental model. Okay. So these are the 3 types of the user interface design models. So next one is, and fourth one is the implementation model. So user model, design model, and third one is the mental model, and fourth one is the implementation model. So the interface look and feel of the interface. So implementation model is nothing but is coupled with all the supporting information. Okay. So whatever the documentation we do. So for example, TV. Okay. So that is comes under the implementation model. And next coming to process. So what is a process? So the analysis and design process for UI is iterative and can be represented using a spiral model. So if you recall of first unit. So in first unit we have seen the spiral model. So what is the spiral model? So in spiral model, whenever the changes came, so the things will be do on like this, like spiral model. So if you remember, the thing is the spiral model will be there. So here is the communication, planning, so implementation, and this is the deployment. So 4 parts. Okay. So first it will go for the communication, then it will go for the planning. So like the iteration model, and it will be represented using a spiral model. So the user interface analysis and design process encompasses 4 distinct framework activities. So what are those? So the first one is user task and environment analysis and modeling. And second one is interface design. And thirdly, interface construction, that means implementation. So what are the things we have seen in the first unit? Framework activities, communication, planning, implementation and deployment. So those things only. Here we have given some other words. Okay. And fourth is interface validation. Okay. So those 4 points, those four frameworks is for the software engineering product, whereas these 4 are for the UI interface design, user interface design mode. Okay. So this user interface design will also use a spiral model. So see here. So first one is the user task environment analysis. So first is what is the user who will use this system. So what are the tasks we have to do? So what are the environment we are using? We have to analyze. This is the first one. So second, we have to go for the interface design. Basing upon this analysis, we have to design the interface. So what are the screen elements we have to design? So how the screen background, which color we have to give. Okay. And next, the third one is implementation. So after implementation, we have to do validation. So whether it is giving the, if you're giving some input, what is the output we are getting? So where we are getting the correct output or not. So that is a validation. And next one is, so the figure implies, so whatever the figure it is there, so the figure implies what is the figure gives. Okay. So this is overall the spiral model of the user interface designing model. And next one is, the analysis of the user environment focuses on the physical work environment. So in the process, so whatever the analysis we are doing for the user interface, for the user environment is a focus on the physical work. So physical work among the questions to be asked. So in order to analyze, we have to answer some questions. First one is, where will the interface be located physically? So we are saying interface. Interface is nothing but interacting with each other. So where? At where? Next, the second point is, will the user be sitting, standing, or performing other tasks unrelated to the interface? So while interacting with the system, what type of task he will do? Whether he is sit or whether he is standing or whether he is some other position. What is that? Okay. And next, third one is, does the interface hardware accommodate space, light, or noise constraints? So while designing the screen, okay, what type of whether it is getting some noise or not. So what type of lightning effect is going on. So by seeing the screen, sometimes your eyes may get some problems. Okay, like that. Okay, so how much space it is occupying in the hardware. And next, fourth one is, are there special human factors consideration driven by the environment factors? So environment factors are nothing but what is the screen colors, different colors, background, foreground, and what are the different types of noises you are placing. Okay, basing upon those environments, what are the different human factors are affecting on that? Human factors are nothing but eyes, our eyes. Okay, our mental position, how is that while interacting with the system, while interacting with the screen. Okay, so there is some special human factors. What are the screen design we are doing, whether these are affecting the human factors or not. Okay, and next coming to interface design analysis. So first, interface analysis. So interface design analysis means understanding. So what is the analysis in interface design is nothing but understanding. So what we have to understand, the first one is the people who are the end users who will interact with the system throughout the interface. So I am designing a laptop. So this laptop is meant for whom? I have to think. Okay. And next, the second point, the tasks that end users must perform to do their work. So what are the tasks the users are doing? So in order to perform their work, they are going for using some other purposes. Some people will be there. They will use the laptops only for movies. They will not perform any works like that. Okay. And next, thirdly, the content that is presented as part of the interface, whatever the content. So like a placing of the icons of my computer, recycle bin. So these are related to the content of the interface or not. And next, fourth one, the environment in which these tasks will be conducted. So whatever the things, for example, Turbo C, if you download the Turbo C software in your system, so whether the C languages will be supported by the Turbo C in the system or not. So according to the hardware or according to the operating system what you are using. Okay. And next, so first one is a user analysis. So these are the 4 points we have to understand before doing the analysis. Then now we are going for the first one is a user analysis. According to the user analysis, how we can do for interface. So first one is user interview. So the software team, whoever the team is there, so they will go for some interview. They will have to conduct some interviews. Okay. So with the users. So why is to better understand their needs. So what are the needs, what are the motivations, what are the work culture they have, and some other issues. In order to know by the software team will conduct some user interviews. Next one is a sales input. So why these products are coming into existence? Because of some business. Okay, to get the sales. So how the sales input are there? So we have to think. This is according to the user analysis. And next one is a marketing input. So basic upon the market. So for example, if you go to buy some laptops, so you will ask some vendor. So which type of laptops, which company laptops are going better? Which going more sale. So they will tell us so many companies, Asus, Acer, HP, Dell, Lenovo. So different types of laptops are there. But only one type of a laptop, one brand of laptop will be more sold for so many days, like that. So marketing input. So okay, marketing analysis can be invaluable by definition of the market segments. So what is it? Why the Dell company is going the more selling out more products than the Lenovo? So what is the difference in there? Okay, like that. And next one is the support input. So like a support staff, some other staff who are staying within the environment of the software development team. Basing upon those, the support team also we will get the some input. So this is the user analysis. And next one is the task analysis and modeling. In interface analysis, we have the second one is a task analysis and modeling. So the goal of the task analysis is to answer the following questions. We have to answer the following questions, then only we have to do some analysis. What are those? What work will the user perform in specific circumstances? Like if the system is getting a shutdown or if the system is getting restarted for every 2 hours or for every 3 hours, then what the user will do? Okay. Next, what tasks and subtasks will be performed as the user does the work? So what he was doing some other task. Okay, what are those? And next, thirdly, what specific problem domain objects will the user manipulate as work is performed? Some manipulations we will do. Okay. So for example, Word document. So Word document it will give us some name, book 1, book 2 like that. So we will replace the some names. Okay. Or else software. For example, software. By default, you will get so many of the music players softwares. Apart from that, we will use some other softwares from the online itself. Okay, what type of works they will do? What type of manipulations they will do? So, what is the sequence of work task, the workflow? So, how the tasks they are going on? So, how the workflow will be there for the users? What is the hierarchy of the task? So, first, what is the hierarchy? That means what is the first priority for which task we have to do. So second priority for what task we have to do. So we have to answer first all these questions. Okay, this is the main goal in task analysis in the modeling. Task analysis model. Next, interface design steps. So after now we have seen the interface analysis. Now we are going for the interface design steps. How to design the steps. So once interface analysis has been completed, all tasks required by the end user have been identified in detail. So whatever the analysis we have done in the previous, so whatever the questions we asked, so those questions basing upon all the tasks, so we have to identify. So what we have to identify is the first one, using information developed during interface analysis. So in interface analysis, whatever the user's information we have taken by using a user model. Okay, and next one is the second one. We have to define the events, what type of actions we have to perform with the system. So that will cause the state of the user interface to change the model. And next, thirdly, depict each interface state as it will actually look into the end user. And next, the fourth one is indicate how the user interprets the state of the system from information provided throughout the interface. So what type of information we are providing throughout the interface when the user is interacting with the system. Okay, and next, complete. And next one is so the first point is interface design patterns. So what are the interface design patterns? So we have the patterns. These are the different patterns that are available for the designing steps for the interface. So what are those? Is the complete UI, page layout, forms and input, tables, direct data manipulation, navigation, searching, page elements, e-commerce. So these are the different types of the interface design patterns. So first one is the complete UI. So complete UI means complete user interface. Okay, next one is the page layout. So how the pages are designing for you. So for example, if you go for the Word document, so it has a portrait and landscape. It has some certain centimeters and inches. Okay, what is the layout of that? So and next one is the forms and inputs. So what type of forms it is taking, what type of input it is taking. And next tables. So some data is represented in the tables. So how they have to represent. And next one is the direct data manipulations and navigation, searching, page elements, like that. These are the different type patterns of the user interface design. Okay, and next coming to design issues. And second point is design issues. So what are the design issues? So first one is the response time. So system response time has an important characteristics. So for example, if you are opening your laptop, if you click on the power button, so within what time the system is getting on? Within what time how the system is getting to close? So what is the response time? So for example, if you click on the Zoom, okay, Zoom icon, so is it responding very quickly or is it responding too lately? So that is the response time. Next one is the help facilities. So whatever the things you are using, whatever the software you are using, so it will give you some help. So I said F1, if you click F1 in a Microsoft Word document or PPT or Excel or browsers, different web browsers, Chrome, Mozilla, Opera, whatever it is. If you click on F1, what it will give? It will give the help. Okay, is there any help conditions or not? Help facilities or not? And next, thirdly, error handling. So, for example, what type of language it is using, whether it is English or whether it is some systems may use or go for the some. If it is a Chinese, so they will use this Chinese language. So different languages will be used. Okay, so describe the problem in a language that user can understand. So when there is an error, you are getting some error. So for example, so it is almost given in English language only, whatever the systems we use in India. Some other countries it will give you their own language, local languages. Okay, so like that, whatever the error it is getting occur, so we have to give the correct information in the user understandable language. And next one is menu and command labeling. So menus. So we have seen the different types of menus: file, edit, view, insert, whatever you have in browsers, whatever you have in PPTs, whatever you have in Excel, Word document. So everything there is have some menus. So what are the menu options? How we can provide the menu options? How we can use some command line buttons? And next one is the application accessibility. So application accessibility is mainly for some physically challenged people, those who are facing some problems. Okay, how we are providing for them? So internationalization. So whatever the text you have, that is a Unicode standardization. So there is some ASCII values. So there is some ASCII, ASCII. Okay, some ASCII values it is given by the system. So because the system will take the only binary format, whatever the things you will write in English, it is accepted in a binary format. So binary format means only in zeros and ones. So then it is converted into your own language after that. So while converting that, so it should use the ASCII values. Okay, and next. So design evaluation. So how we can perform the design evaluation? So this is the diagram for the design evaluation. Okay. So first we have to go for the preliminary design. So first we have some rough design. Then we have to go for the build prototype one interface. So it will be divided into some interfaces. Okay. So whatever the work is, if your work is huge, what we will do? You will divide into some parts like that. In order to develop of the software, also they will divide the some parts. Okay. So first we will do the preliminary phase. That means some rough diagram. Then we go for the prototype one. Then after it will go for the users evaluation interface. Then it will go for the evaluation is studied designed by the designer. Okay. And next, so after the interface design is complete, or else it will go for the some modifications whatever you do. So then later after the modifications also they will build the some interface. So that means iteration. I said iteration. This is a prototype of ASH 1. So this is a prototype of ASH, like the iteration. So 1. So build. So they build some model, some interface model. Okay. It is the first time they build. So after that it will go for the users evaluation. That means it will undergo for the some checking purpose. So after that it will go for the designer. So if the designer is okay, then it will go for the some any in evaluation. If you get any errors, then it will go for the modifications. After modifications, again it will go for the design. That means this, and again it will go like that n times until we get the evaluation is the correct. Okay. So this is the design evaluation. And next, elements of. So today's summary. So we have started the 5th unit. So that is the first one is the golden rules. Secondly, you have seen the some interface analysis. And next we have seen some of the design steps in interface. And lastly, we have seen some evaluation of the design.